Hello, welcome back to the Final Fantasy XIV online store where there are new items added for purchase today, the 26th of December 2025. Specifically, there is one new item, an outfit. Additionally, there is previous year's Heaven's Turn items. So last year's event items have been made accessible on the store. Just as a reminder, if there is anything on the store that you want to go and look at, there is quite an extensive sale open until the 9th of January. So if you want to make the most of any items, there are some pretty interesting things, including Fantasias, story skips, and actually some other outfits, Heaven's Turn items, that kind of thing. Definitely worth checking out. The new items then, as you can see, we have, of course, ourselves the Heaven's Turn items from last year. As you can see, the price is first in Great British Pounds. We've got the housing items, two of which, the 5 authentic Oriental New Year's meals and the authentic Springtide fan stand for £3 in the UK. We also have £3 for the minion, the Great White Tsukinoko, which is actually an adorable minion, fantastic minion. So if you missed out on that last year, you can get that. And the new outfit we'll talk about in just a second is £11.16 in the UK. In the United States, this is how that looks. So $5 for the housing items, $5 for the Tsukinoko minion, and $18 for the Eastern Techno attire. The Eastern Techno attire is a 5-piece set consisting of a mask, a jacket, gloves, gaskins, and shoes, and has double dyes on there. So let's go into the game and have a look at these together. There doesn't seem to be any gender or restrictions regarding headwear because it is obviously a mask. So let's go look at this. So as we mentioned on the store page, this is a 5 set with obviously a Techno mask instead of a helm of any other kind, a Techno jacket, a Techno gloves pair, Techno gaskins, and Techno shoes. The Eastern Techwear then actually represents the 19th outfit added to the cash shop as of Dawntrail's expansion. So we're actually getting close to some of the most outfits added to the cash shop actually in the game's history. Although Heavensward still pretty much takes the cake on that one. So yeah, there's quite a lot of outfits available on the store for real money. And this is yet another one. My first impressions on this one then with the 5 set, it isn't necessarily my cup of tea. I might be slightly jaded though with the amount of techwear and futuristic sets that are currently available in the game, be that from obviously PvP, from the PvP series milestones, and of course other items added in Dawntrail, especially with Solution 9. Okay, so it's obviously important to look at these pieces separately. So the mask itself obviously has these 2 very thick, very large spikes for the side of the face where they attach. Obviously, if you have long hair or large hair, which I actually had to turn off, I had to go to the esthetician and change my hair on my character to actually show this without clipping, you are going to get quite a lot of clipping. And there are lots of hairstyles, both male and female centered, that definitely will be clipped by this. The actual face mask itself, if we go around this side, you'll see it does have a quite smooth attachment to the face. There isn't much of a gap there, or at least on a Mikote. Again, not entirely sure, but I think it's because it is actually clipping the face into the mask rather than just jutting up against it. So in theory, there shouldn't be any gaps there. Of course, trying to find a piece of gear to match to that is going to be pretty difficult, but of course we've got stuff like the late Allegan gear in the game. Another thing that does clip is obviously ears and horns. If you're Aura or Mikote, this is going to be something that you're probably used to by now. But yeah, the mask itself, not too bad. It is definitely something I would consider using if I was making something like a Raiden glamour or something from Metal Gear. As for the jacket on its own then, obviously it's coming over to our waist height, with these long strands of semi-transparent fabric at the bottom. And of course, we've got so many straps on this, very similar to the Air Cell attire, if you remember looking at that from the Series 9 PvP level 25 reward. As you can see, there's lots of intricate designs with this cross over of the jacket sort of wrapped around your body with the zip not actually being used. It's more of a fashion statement with a underside coat as well, like an undercoat with its own zip. But we've got a lot of straps and buckles on here. Lots and lots of little attachments, little rings look attached by key rings, sort of ring loops. Yeah, it's quite a busy looking outfit up close, isn't it? The gloves immediately remind me of the outfits from the Mood with the connection to the wrist. So this is something that could be a good replacement for some of those outfits, like the spacesuits, like Cosmo suit, fastening them firmly to your wrist, almost acting like a bit of a seal. When we look at the leggies on their own then, without all of the other fabric getting in the way, you'll see that they're actually quite nicely detailed. There's a lot of detail to be said about the stuff that's hidden under a lot of outfits, especially cash shop outfits. I do like the little straps on this. Is it the sort of thing I would use? Probably, actually. There are probably a couple of glamour sets I could think of that would probably be finished by having something like this. Legwear seems to be always one of the more difficult things to match to glamours. And yeah, it's quite welcome, quite honestly. Lastly, on its own, the shoes then. So at the back, we've got that large hexwear kind of tag, a strap to pull on, which would be particularly useful for putting it on your feet, I guess. We have that kind of almost like a futuristic Ankh symbol, which is interesting. The shoes are actually one of the nicest parts, at least I think. There are quite a lot of trainers and boots in the game that are super futuristic. But it is nice to have another option, I suppose. I think I'm just slightly jaded, like I say, with the amount of outfits that look quite similar. But it does take away from how nice the individual items are. So I'm trying to put myself onto a different pedestal of going, judge it as an actual set, rather than in comparison to what we already have. And in that regard, it's quite nice, isn't it? I like the stylized designs here. It's very easily something you could see an NPC wearing in Solution 9. All right, let's look at dyes then. So here's the default, and then let's go through one channel, one direction, and the second channel, the other direction, obviously with my girlfriend here modeling it from the other side, so you can see the back as well. We went through the usual dyes that we normally do in these videos, which of course took a little bit extra time, so apologies of the lateness of this video. It takes a while to film this stuff. So first initial thoughts with the dye previews. I really do not like the fact that both of the boots at the back there, that tag, and of course on the legs is the bigger problem, right? On those shorts, the green section, that strap is remaining green regardless of what we put on both channels. Immediately that makes me want to either create something in the same color as that, so like a turquoise or a cobalt green, metallic cobalt green, just to hide away that color, or to not use them at all, which immediately kind of disappoints me because I quite liked the legs in this set and the boots more than any other part. I suppose I'll have to just make something that kind of has that color attached to it and use the second channel to mimic it or something. A little bit disappointed in that, I'm not going to lie to you. It does annoy me when they add lots of extra colors that you can't deal with, but it annoys me even more when you just have a small section that is very obvious that you can't change the color of. We saw that more recently as well with one of the other outfits added to the store. It's slightly irritating. Until we get like triple dye palettes, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to be free of that. But this is quite a busy outfit, and the colors, yeah, there's no way of making it simpler. So any other piece of gear that you try to match with this to make a glamour also has to be quite busy and lots of different colors, but also contain a section of that green as well. A little bit disappointed, but it's not terrible, I guess. I thought it would be a good idea to show you a comparison then of some of the outfits then. So on the right side, we've got the later Allegan casting set from PvP. We've got, of course, the new Techwear set in the center. And then we also have the Air Cell attire, which was part of Series 9 PvP that has since been removed from a game that will probably be re-added in future series to trophy crystals in the future. Just as a bit of a comparison to see what we've got here then, obviously they are quite different, but the similarities between the Air Cell attire and the new Techwear one are obviously quite apparent, especially with the shorts there. Obviously, we got longer legs there instead of just shorts, but there are some similarities with the buckles and straps and things like that. And yeah, so they're not completely the same. And if you wanted to go for something that suited late Allegan, maybe some of the pieces from the techwear set would interchange nicely with that in comparison to something like the ASL attire, which probably wouldn't have a lot of trade between, but you could probably swap the shorts around, things like that. And of course, one of the perks of this being a store-purchased outfit is that we can store it in our armoire. Hopefully in the future we get some expansion of the armoire and what things we can store in here. But of course you can put this 5-piece set in here, so you don't have to worry about applying it to your glamour dresser, things like that. Of course, however, it can't be saved with dyes in here. So if you do want to save something with a dye on it, you will have to put it into your glamour dresser instead and apply it as a single piece rather than an outfit glamour as well. And of course, if you were to add things to a glamour plate from the armoire, it would be located under page 2 of fashions, the purchasable items, under Eastern Inspired as a new tag. That is a tag that hasn't been here before for the armoire, and that's where you will find that just above the Far Eastern Lord and Lady stuff, or below the alternative sets if you've got this. My final thoughts on this then, it definitely has some use individually as pieces to make like a neo-futuristic samurai set. I'll definitely be using probably the legs and probably the mask. Actually, it could be an interesting alternative from some of the other late Allegan pieces if I wanted to make a cyborg ninja or something. Aside from that, I'm not really that pleased with the overall set. It's not my cup of tea, but you might be looking at this and absolutely love it. Anyway, let me know what you think about the Eastern Techno wear set, and if you're going to pick this one up, and hopefully that video helped give you demonstrations of what that looked like. Much love, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.